I remember being in a place of the torment he's talking about, but I don't remember the physical state.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember anything as far as what was going on in the truck. I just knew what was going on in my mind. So one of the last things I remember was I was talking to her, boom, all of a sudden I went into like a torment of state. And that's one of the last things I remember clearly. I don't remember him, I couldn't see him praying or I couldn't remember anything like that. I just know what I was going through internally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think it was? Because you say you went down. Where, you have any sense as to where you were?
If I had to take an educated guess, I would say more like the center of the earth is what it felt like.
Okay, you guys, let's get it. For clarity's sake, the he that he's talking about, that he's talking to, seeing, praying, or whatever, that's his father. So I wanted to bring that out for clarity's sake. And he talks about being in a tormented state. Here's the definition of torment: severe physical or mental suffering. And that is exactly what he's talking about. That is what you feel in hell continuously for eternity. This is nothing to play with. We're going to give you the biblical breakdown. First verse, Luke 16, verse 23. And in hell he lift up his eyes, being in torments, and seeth Abraham afar off and Lazarus in his bosom. This is the story of the rich man and Lazarus, and how Lazarus is in the bosom, in Abraham's bosom, and how the rich man is receiving what he should receive based on what he did on earth, which is torments, which is that physical and mental torment that goes on forever. So there's that verse there to prove that point. Next thing, he says that he fell. He says that he fell. The reason why is because hell is in the center of the earth. Ephesians 4, verse 9. This is talking about Christ when he was crucified and what happened to him. It says, Ephesians 4, verse 9, now that he ascended, what is it but that he also descended first into the lower parts of the earth? This is being said because hell is in the center of the earth. It can't be more plain than this. Next verse to add even more to this point, Ephesians 14, 9. Hell from beneath, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Because everybody, all the kings are down there, all these people at the top that did all this evil, they're all down there. But the point I'm making here is that hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. Because again, hell is in the center of the earth. Let's go.
Straight where?
Hell.
Straight to hell.
Mm-hmm.
How
Right.
do you know? How do you know?
Before that point happened, my soul left my body. So
No, you say your soul left your body.
Yes.
What was that like? I mean, how do you know your soul left your body?
because it was an aerial view. I was passed out or going what I was going through first and then passed out, but I can see where my dad was going. I told him the lanes he was changing. I told him the cars he was going behind, everything. And my dad was
so
moving.
after you came back, you told your dad everything that happened
Everything
while you were passed out.
While I was passed out.
And you
Yes.
were like in the air
It
looking
was
at
like
it?
an area. I felt like an eagle. That's exactly what I felt like. It was an
Looking down
aerial
at yourself.
Looking down. I can see almost the whole city, but I can also see my dad at the same time.
Wow.
It was something unbelievable. And then when it got to that point, I went straight to hell.
You went straight to hell. How do you know it was hell? What did you?
It
what
was
did you-
number one, it was a very short fall. You go from an aerial view and then boom, I could feel myself get pulled down immediately. I went straight to hell.
Take us to what we couldn't see, what Dad couldn't see.
Okay, so going from his point, when I started going through torment and he started praying and things like that, I felt myself falling.
So the first thing you felt was yourself falling.
Yes, like a.
But you're in a car. What do you mean?
In my mind, I went to a place of like I can see my body falling from my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, like I can see what I'm seeing, but I can't react. It's like a sunken place. That's real. I know it's just movie and things like that, but that is real. That's because it's a point to where like you can hear and you can see, but everything is so distant. There's nothing you can do about it. And I felt myself falling away from my eyes, and then all of a sudden, I let myself go straight to hell.
Okay, here he talks about his soul leaving his body. First verse I want to bring out is Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. And God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So we are a living soul that will continue on for eternity. The soul continues on for eternity. When the physical body dies, that's just the physical body. That's really just the beginning, okay? The soul lives on forever to either be with Christ in glory forever or eternal damnation in hell with Satan. Next verse, Matthew 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. The soul is eternal again. We've got nothing to fear in terms of man because they can only kill your body, and that's nothing because they are not able to kill the soul. Our Father up in heaven is the one that can put our soul into eternal destruction in hell. That is what we want to avoid. That is why you must have the fear of the Father that we brought out before in other lessons. The fear of the Father is paramount because the Father is one, the only one who has the power to destroy both soul and body in hell. Next clip.
It's hot, but there's no fire. But it's very hot.
I'll just say that again. That's an important point. You said it's hot, but there's no fire.
It's hot, but there's no fire.
Okay.
It's like molten rocks. It's like molten rocks. It's really hot. It's really orange. It's glowing. I'm talking thousands of degrees glowing. Like, it's not supernatural in the way of heavenly, but this is still a supernatural thing because the ground is thousands of degrees, but your feet aren't burnt. You're very hot, but you're not passed out.
Wow.
Hell is real. Hell is a terrible place, and you do not want to go there. The verse I want to bring out here is Revelations 20, verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire, which is the second death. He says he didn't see fire there. Other people have seen fire. That's neither here nor there. But ultimately, the lake of fire, which is fire, is where hell will be cast. So therefore, that hell will be continuously burning forever and ever. And yes, the molten rocks, the complete hot and disgust and disdain is there. Keep it moving.
I feel like because it's glowing, molten rocks all around you. It's like people are standing on shells of rock. It's very hot. It's glowing. You're very thirsty. You can't breathe. You're extremely hungry. There's extreme torment. I mean, the odor is terrible. I mean, everything about hell you can imagine is everything bad you can imagine life is what hell is. You can't breathe, you can't talk, you're in torment, you're screaming. It's very hot. It's not fire, but it's very hot. You can't seem to grasp the concept of real life because it's all of your worst. Just for a second, take your worst thoughts and your worst experiences and stretch that for eternity. I mean, take the deepest hurts and the deepest things, the worst mistakes, all of those things, and the devil puts it to where, like, you are thinking about that stuff so much, you are losing your mind for the rest of your life, for eternity, forever. We're not talking about 10 minutes. You know, we're not talking about having a bad day or a bad week or a bad shift at work. We're talking about for as long as time could ever last, eternity. You're going through torment, losing your mind.
I'm telling you, hell is nothing to play with. This is all real. So he's talking about the thirst and the mental torment, how he can't breathe, he can't talk, he can see other people, he can't communicate, and that he's losing his mind forever. How terrible, how horrific. Think about that. Let that seep into your brain. Okay, here's a couple verses. Luke 16:24. And he cried and said, Father Abraham, have mercy on me and send Lazarus that he may dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am tormented in this flame. So here, this is the rich man and Lazarus story. The rich man is in hell, basically, in Hades. He's so tormented, he's so thirsty, he's asking Abraham to please send Lazarus so that he can get a drop of water to cool his tongue. There are no drops of water in hell. Nobody's coming in there to save you. It is what it is. You're going to have to deal with it forever. And I do find it interesting how at the end it says, I am tormented in this flame, because sometimes people see different things or get different parts of hell, or Christ shows them what he wants them to see. So here he clearly says in this flame, so depicting fire. Next verse, Revelations 14, verse 11. More on the torment. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. You better not take that mark. We're in the last days. You better not take that mark. You'll regret it forever in eternity. But here it talks again about the torment, and that the torment continues on forever and ever. You guys got to just think about eternity. Do this. Close your eyes, get in a quiet place, and just think about eternity, 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 to get an idea of about how long that is, about what that really means. Okay, it's hard for us to grasp that because we are finite people, but I've done that, and what's interesting is that I feel my mind get to the ends of finity, right where infinity starts, and it's so weird. It like bounces my thought back into finity, where we are finite. It's like I got to the end of the consciousness of where infinity and finity meet. So I just thought that was interesting. I thought that would throw that out. If any of you guys do that and feel that, let me know. Next clip.
Now, the Bible says that in that place, the worm dies not. And when you look at that word worm, it actually means your conscience.
More horror there. Okay, so I disagree with the pastor, what the pastor said here, saying that the worm is a mental torment. I disagree with that, and I'm going to use the Bible to show you why, like we always do. Job 24, verse 20. The womb shall forget him, the worm shall feed sweetly on him. He shall be no more remembered, and the wickedness shall be broken as a tree. So here, the worm is physically feeding. It's physically feeding on the people who are in hell. That's why I disagree with the pastor there. Clearly, the Bible is saying something different. The other thing is that you will be forgotten when you go to hell, okay? People will forget all about you when you go to hell. You're not remembered. It's almost like you never even existed.
So what you're saying is the torment is oftentimes thoughts.
It is your life. You're thinking of your mistakes. You're thinking of things you've done wrong, people you've hurt, things that have hurt you, people that have died. You remember your life. Hell isn't a made up, he's just making you feel crazy. Everything you ever went through, even things that you didn't go through that you could have went through, he shows you. So in hell, not only are you hurt from the things you went through, but you're hurt because now you realize how good God really was to you.
Were other people there?
Yes.
What, like a lot? Or
It's a lot.
All around.
It's
so
all,
do you hear sounds from other people?
You hear a lot of screaming, a lot of crying, a lot of torment. And the thing is, you can see everybody. Everybody can see each other, but you can't talk because you are losing your mind so much you can't even grasp the concept of communication. It's not like you're blinded or, I mean, that's what adds to the worst part of it. You can see everybody else's hurt along with yours. And you still have that in your heart. You still hurt in your heart while you're in heaven. So you're seeing people go through what they're going through, and it hurts you even more.
So were you trying to get out of there? Were you trying to scream out to God? What do you remember about?
You are in a place to where the hurt is so bad because you realize how good God was. Part of the torment is you are begging God to save you. You are begging God to come get me out of this place, and it's too late. You know what you want, but you realize it's too late at the same time.
As a hell bonus, there's some audio that I want to play for you from the Russian government when they were drilling deep down in the earth to the tectonic plates in Siberia. They ended up hearing some sounds, and these sounds, in my opinion, are from hell. It's very disturbing, so I want to let you know now. Maybe if you have children in the room or whatever, you may want to not let them hear this. This is very disturbing. I wanted to give that warning to you guys, but I'm going to play this story and let you listen to this.
And so I submit now the cleaned, a better copy to you, and I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
How'd you guys like those sounds from hell? Wasn't that scary? Wasn't that just terrifying? Can you imagine that's those sounds around you forever in eternity, along with the torment you're going through? I can, and I'm going to do everything in my power to not let that happen. I'm going to heaven. That's what it's all about. I hope that I've scared the hell out of you.